Hey, good morning. A lot of the changes that we see happening in humanity are in relationship to the technology and how technology is moving so fast that some cultures are being left behind, maybe with intent or just the inability to give them the new technologies that are coming out into the open. There's a new technology that will come out probably in the next 20 years. It'll be very unique. It'll use a gel, a bacterial based silica gel that will enable your electrical energy from your skin to go through a gel like electrical barrier that will enable machinery that is created specifically for you to interact with you. So, say that you had somebody with a broken back, but they were able to get enough electrical energy to the presence of their skin to be able to create an electrical conduit. Well, by making a slip skin jelly form, you could put a body over the body like an exoskeleton and enable that person to do things that they couldn't do before, like walk, or to have an arm that didn't have an arm, or to have eyes that didn't have eyes. Remember that neuronal impulses are based on the electrical flow, and the body doesn't know the difference between cellular structure and the electrical input into the cellular structure, and that's why it's so confusing for the body at times to know the difference between hot and cold. The truth is, because hot and cold, there is really no difference to the body. Heat is just the intake of a sudden burst of electrons that causes agitation with the electrical system, and cold is the removal of that. So either way, all the grid on your body's reading is the change in your ability to have your electrical grid. Your body is a giant electrical grid. That's all it is. You're filling your body with what you are, and the body is a substance of what you live in. And so from your head to your toes, you are your body, and everything that you do comes from within you, and the energy that you put into yourself, whether it's positive or negative, your viewpoint of positivity or negativity can change how your body is. Many people that have lost a limb still feel that limb down the road, and they swear to it that they can feel it, and they can feel it because the electrical presence doesn't change. Once you create a ghost-like image of something, say an arm, and you cut that arm off, that electrical energy will always have the conduit of that arm, with or without the arm there. That's why certain people have such a magnificent presence. You see that in historical writings, like he had a magnificent aura, he had a beautiful nimbus. What does that mean? That means that the energy that was flowing from the person was of such a positive potential that it enabled for others to feel that electrical presence. And that electrical presence that we pass on to others allows us to identify people who are like ourselves. Now, there are those out there that have what's called a negative electrical presence, and that doesn't mean that they are negative people. It just means that they have the ability to absorb other people's energy from you. Whether it is, what you consider to be luck, whether you consider it to be health, whatever you'd like to consider it to be, they are able to utilize the energy around them and sustain themselves of their own personal energy off other people's energy. So say you have a coworker, right? And she really thrives on causing conflict within the workplace. And her days are bad unless everyone else's days are bad, and then her days are great. That's a person who's using your electrical energy presence for herself. When she can get your presence to be on the same presence as hers, then her presence is welcome. You can't change electrical presence of people. You can modify people, and I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend changing the polarity of people because it changes the dynamics of how humanity works. You have to think it more of a beehive. I would think of humanity more like a beehive, and the effects of how we are supposed to work together in a community for one another, and that positive potential brings positive energy. Nobody wants to see a child stuck in a culvert And so everyone gets together to try to get the child out. And, the person that comes up on the culvert, though, that's late for work and the road's closed down, he doesn't feel the same way about the child, or she, or it, or whatever, sexuality is these days. So positivity is a reflection of how you choose to feel and the energy you give off from yourself. And so down the road, when you're able to change your energy flow and utilize bacterial gels in order to create a substrate for your body into electrical appliances, you will find that those with a better positive level will be able to work with certain machinery and certain types of things better than others. The future of humanity isn't necessarily human. You don't think that God's going to suddenly yank you off the earth and change you into a new form of creature, do you? You don't think tomorrow you're going to sprout wings. Evolution is based on evolving, and the only evolution for humans is self-evident and given to you through God for you. And your future is based on what you do with what God gives you. Because God is omnipotent, and He's all-encompassing. And thus it is most important for you to remember that the things that you do with what God gives you can make or break you. God bless God.